Hello everyone, the name is Lemvalero Jr. and I am here with Mr. Sam, aka Esseks, and yep, they are definitely booming there, but we all gotta make sure that we maybe speak a bit louder then so they can be able to hear us, and hopefully this here will not, jiggle a bit. My apologies for that. But yes, I am here with the Deaf Underground Esseks. I am here with Clozee, Remembrance, I believe, Ellie's Nap, Esseks. Bad monsters, right?
Bad cartoons.
Bad cartoons to the villain's journey.
Wow.
Wakan, Deadbeats, The Prophecy Volume 1 with Between Channels, Esseks. Such an incredible journey that you have had ever since the beginning. And even though you had, let's say this, like each and every year, it was obviously increase on your just musicality and increase on your artistry. Even though you had a lot of people back in your corner, some great, some we will not name, but it's all part of the journey. It was all part of this path that you're on to create such incredible music that is not only just bass pounding, but also just very poignant in its sound design. From, like I said, from bad cartoons to the villain's journey, and to your recent EP, which is The Uncertain Future, which I can hardly believe. Oh my god, it's absolutely incredible. And it's not just the music being incredible, but also your freaking artwork, which he is the artist of every single one. So incredible, in fact, that New York had to give him his own space to do his own art show for his work for The Uncertain Future. I am just so proud of you and everything you're doing so far. I just had to tell you just thank you. Thanks so much for everything that you are doing, everything you are making. I'm honored and blessed to finally tell you this personally. Thank you so much. So let me just get that out the way. But let me get to the first question, which is this. What made you want to... Well, first off, I think it was the art that kind of came first. If we scroll all the way back in your Instagram, it was the art that was really shining. I mean, you were already making Esseks shirts in, I think, August 2012. So,
wow. So
here's the thing. First, let's start with the art first. What made you want to create your own artwork and have this, very, spooky yet very, amazing designs?
Hey, well, I'm impressed. You did your research. You know the history.
I do what I can. I make sure I take it seriously.
Well, I was in art school when I started learning electronic music.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing illustration when I learned to do electronic music. So when I started doing electronic music, it was kind of just a thing of where I was like, well, of course I'm going to do my own album covers and stuff. And then from there, it was more just it was like a way to use my art education, it was a way to use my illustration talents. But yeah, it doesn't really go much deeper than that. I just love, I love doing both. And it's just it's all an outlet of self-expression. All I really care about is expressing myself. The medium is, no matter what the medium is, it's what I enjoy doing,
Understood. And so you went to art school to, really, hone on your art skills. Can you say that, you making your own art was a huge, asset in your entire journey? Because with you being your own artist, you don't have to call anyone to, make a cover art. You don't have to call anyone to, create your vision, because it's your music. It's your vision. It's your creation. So who better to really take the lead on that than you?
Yeah. Well, I think, I mean... It's a double-sided coin. I think there's, an element of it is I wish I could, when I find an artist that I'm impressed by, I wish I could reach out to them and hire them to do an art thing. But That being said, it's also, yes, it's nice to save money on art by doing it myself. That being said, it's more just, it's what I do. It's what I enjoy doing with my time, so it's that's how I enjoy spending my time. That's what I don't know anything else. That's just what I know. You know.
Understood. Now, are there any art pieces like this is gonna be kind of a hard question. I'm so sorry to ask this question, but are there any certain art pieces that you are particularly proud of, whether on your cover, or whether just like independently? Are there any that you feel like was like one of your best works that you really adored?
I think the Villain's Journey album cover, I was very
I am so happy to see the Villain's Journey. I was gonna say that's like one that really blew me away. So, but continue.
Yeah. Well, I think that was one of the first pieces I made in a long time where I was like, damn, I like this a lot, and that's what made me be like, I'm gonna make this a whole thing, like a whole like art-based thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know. I've found that I think like not a lot of people care as much as I do about like having a great album cover. But
I wouldn't say that, because someone like me who like really like wants to dive deep and really understand like the stories and like how certain things come to be, you can kind of say I have a really deep respect for people who also like create album covers too. So it's what you foresee. It's what like what you know, like what you're entering into. Which leads me to my next question. I'm sorry for kind of cutting you off there, but what is the story in like the villain's journey through his music and the artwork? Let's start with the artwork first, since we're on art.
That's a fun. I mean, so I did like write a story for Villain's Journey, and I did have like a story on the vinyl, on the back of the vinyl inserts. There's like a written story for it. That being said, it's kind of like I just had the illustrations. I did a series of illustrations that were like one per song that I just like completely like from the top of my head I was like, oh, this looks cool. Mm-hmm. And if it was cool enough, I was like, that goes with that song.
Okay.
But then from that, I just took all those images and like made up a story that went along with all of them, just based off of what the images were and what the songs felt like. And the story ended up making kind of sense, but it's kind of just a very typical like, I don't even know, hero's journey slash like, it was like a play off of like the hero's journey story structure, or any kind of like writing structure, the standard hero's journey. I just kind of did a play off of that, but with like the guy being a bad guy. Like,
understood.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you kind of like put the tables on it, because people, I think, yeah, the hero's journey is kind of a big cliche, because everyone loves to hear, the hero's journey, like,
yeah,
they start off with this character, and then it build up to this. You have your villain here, and then they have something to overcome.
Right.
But no one really wants to, like, enter into, like, a villain's psyche or a villain's journey,
yeah,
which is pretty creative for you to do already. So it's almost kind of like you making your own personal Suicide Squad album. So, like, focusing on the super villain. So, why a villain's journey? Why choose a villain? What's so interesting about villains that made you want to learn more about them in their journeys?
I think that's just kind of a play off of like my old stuff. Like I've always had like my style of music is very much like kind of cliche, like spooky in a way. It's like kind of, I like to think of it as like self-aware, but still kind of like has like a goofy spookiness to it. Like it's kind of like, it is kind of like. I had an old mix called The Villain, Cartoon Villain Mix, and like all my music is kind of like cartoon bad guy music, and like curly mustache, kind of like
I see.
Not so much anymore. Nowadays, I've grown out of it a little bit.
It's a bit more darker. Like so, there are a few like works like in the, let's say, a villain's journey that I believe still have that cartoony-esque feel to it, but still a bit darker. I think a perfect example I can remember off the top of my head is Baba Yaga, which is another language for boogeyman.
Yeah.
Although I will say this, that's one of my favorite songs on that creation. But I feel like I would love to hear a VIP of that, because I had like this one idea, thanks to John Wick, with the iconic line, him saying the word Baba Yaga is like, no, he is not the boogeyman. He's the one you sent to kill the effing boogeyman.
Oh yeah.
I think I would love to hear like a sample of that in a Baba Yaga VIP if you ever thought about it.
Maybe. I was gonna say that song Baba Yaga came from my grandpa, who has since passed, but I showed him over quarantine. I did like not an AV set, but I did like a stream where I did all the visuals myself, and I had the art for that. And my grandpa was like, it was originally, that song was called Memory Palace, which is where the name for Up the Trees label came from.
Wow.
We were coming up with ideas for it, but I changed the name we used that for the label, and then I changed the name of the song to Baba Yaga because my grandpa was watching that. And the art for it, my grandpa was like, "It's a Baba Yaga," and I was like, "What are you talking about, Grandpa?" And like the first time I showed him like my music, or like the first time I showed him my music and my art and combined, he was like all excited. He was telling me about it. And he's like, "Oh, that's a Baba Yaga," and I was like, "What does that mean?" And he told me about it, and I was like, when we changed the name of the label,
That means the boogeyman.
Yeah, when we changed the name of the label, I was like, all right, remember Charles Boogies for that. I'm gonna call the song Baba Yaga because my grandpa said that.
Right.
And that's kind of where the name for that came from.
So it's not only just like, adding to the whole cartoony monster thing, but also almost like a tribute to your grandfather.
Yeah. Well, it's also like, we were using the name for something else, the memory for something else, and I was like, I need a new name for it. He watched the video and was like, "That's a Baba Yaga," and I was like, Good name, Grandpa. Thank you for that.
That is amazing to hear, and I know that, well, speaking of, people, you took Grandpa's name, took Grandpa's words, Baba Yaga, put it in a villain's journey, and it being on Deadbeats, I mean, Oh My Dad's Dead, that's actually pretty incredible. However, there were a lot of other artists that, really helped you out. I think a perfect example is, I'm curious to know, Clozee. How did the song Ellie's Nap come to be, and her putting it in this curation of so many amazing artists in there that it was such an amazing compilation, and for her to put you in it, absolutely amazing. How did that come to be?
Honestly, I don't even really remember that much. It was I know Chloe pretty well.
Well, Clozee. I mean, I keep saying it wrong. I'm so sorry, Clozee.
Yeah. I've known her for a while, but it was kind of just a thing over quarantine. I think we did a stream together. I opened for her on a stream where it was we weren't directly connected necessarily, but it was just kind of a thing where over quarantine, that was just kind of the music I was working on. It was very soft, chill music, and she was doing a compilation. It was kind of just a thing where I think her team reached out to us and was like, "Do you have anything for us?" And I think I sent them a bunch of stuff, and they just settled on that song as I think at that period of time of my writing, that was all the good music I was writing was all just soft, chill stuff. So I think they just kind of rolled with that. But yeah, I don't think I actually don't really remember too much of how that came to be. I think she just hit us up and was like, "We need some music," and I sent to them a bunch of stuff, and they just chose that.
Understood. And let me guess, will there probably be maybe a collaboration with Clozee in the future?
I hope so, but no, I don't expect there to be, but I'm open to it.
Open to it, okay. Keep open to it, but I feel like yours, the music she makes and the music that you make as well, I feel like there could be some beautiful medium in the styles. I mean, I'm always a person who's very open-minded. No, could this work with this? I'm experimental like that. So
for sure.
That's why I mentioned that. So
Chloe, if you're watching this, I'm open to it. Hit me up. I'd love to.
I'll make sure I send it to her. Clozee, hit this man up. He is amazing. But also, speaking of certain labels as well, let me get this first. Let me get this straight. Is Of the Trees the owner of Lab Group, or is that someone else?
No, Lab Group was Charles.
Charles the First. Okay, so
and Potions and Super Task.
Potion and Super Task. Okay, so this is something I had to mention because this is something else that I think this was my introduction to you. My big introduction to you was seeing, rest in peace, Charles the stream of Lab Group of honoring his name and honoring his presence and all his incredible music.
Oh yeah.
First off, amazing job with your set. Amazing job with really upholding the name of Charles the First. But also, I had to ask how. Well, I want to put a damper on it, but I'm very curious to hear. Did Charles the First mean a lot to you? Did music really influence you or your style?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just as a friend, we've known each other. We've known each other for a long time. His music was definitely influential on me, and just his personality, and I think not just me. He's someone who I think everyone was very close with through just our entire. I mean, from the time that I've had a career until he passed, we were very. I think everyone in this kind of spectrum of bass music was all very connected to him. He had he was someone I think that show really proved that I don't think we all even knew how many people he was so close with until that show happened. We were all like, "Oh wow, he's friends with you too? Oh wow, that's crazy." He had a lot of connections, yeah. For sure.
And I'm so happy that he like touched a lot of people's hearts with his music. I mean, loved the music as well. I remember listening to the album of Solace, and it's absolutely freaking incredible. That's my introduction to him, and I just went down the rabbit hole, and I was like, oh my gosh, he really has like a way of like really speaking stories, really speaking that music through just like no words, just like it's something that I was gonna say can't be touched or can't be matched, but it's true, it really cannot really be matched. Like CharlestheFirst music is CharlestheFirst music. No one can do it but him.
Right.
And I'm so happy that he was there for you musically. He was there for so many other people in Lab Group. I just had to like ask that certain question, just say, CharlestheFirst, wherever you are, we love you, we appreciate you, and thank you so much for everything that you've done. Now I lead on to this question here, which is, what could be next for Esseks? I don't think it. I mean, we have the uncertain future. Oh, again, the future is kind of uncertain, but you may want to put a little light on what's coming or what might come.
Yeah, I have like a somewhat melodic chiller release coming out on Up the Trees label, Memory Palace, soon.
So Ellie Snap 2.0.
A little, maybe not that soft, but still like more melodic side. And then I have another. I don't know. Well, I don't want to give away too much, but I have another release with another label shortly after that. That's gonna be more like a heavy music EP, like banger EP. Before that, I got like a softer, more melodic EP / maybe a little more like an album. But
so either Bass Rush or Deadbeats.
One of those.
I'm just guessing. Don't say it. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
I know it. Keep me guessing. It's just, I'm thinking of all the labels they like helped you, like you were a part of. So I'm just thinking to myself, maybe one of those two, or maybe something even something more bangery. I'm thinking.
I mean, yeah, it's the songs are the songs. So the label it comes out on doesn't really even make a difference. But there's a. I don't know how it's very, very much in the future. It's like a few months away, so I don't want to spoil anything, but...
No, keep the future uncertain, no pun intended.
Oh, let's go.
But yeah, I'm just so happy and honored to finally had a chance to speak with you and ask you through my questions, so I just want to say, Esseks, thank you so much for just like blessing us with your presence and blessing us with your musicality, and also about to bless us again in New York City in Webster Hall, representing DEATHPACT in the Mid-Heaven tour. How does it feel to for him to bring you on? I know. Okay, let me get this straight. Kumarion was supposed to be the one to be in the list, but because of flight trouble, he couldn't make it. Kumarion, just know we truly love you and appreciate you. Know that this man here is going to represent you in the best way. I'll let you know if he plays any drum and bass. If he ever does play some drum and bass, do it for him. I'm just saying do it for him. But again, how does it feel for him to say, no, what? I got my other ace in the hole, Esseks, and DEATHPACT bringing you in. How does it feel?
It feels good. It feels very, I don't know. I found out a few hours ago, so I'm still...
Right. You're still kind of reeling in.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
How many times have you performed in New York? I feel like the last time you performed in New York was, what, in 2017 when it was Wakan? You had the Percolator and Liquid Stranger.
Oh, no. That was my first time playing Webster Hall.
First time ever.
Then I played with Charles here at Winter Sermon right before COVID. And then I had my art show here.
And the art show
ago.
In Webster Hall?
No, Webster Hall.
I'm about to say, that was in Yonderville.
No. The art show I had was in New York.
In New York. Oh, wow. So my apologies. I got that all mixed up.
I did play Yonderville right before the art show, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so this is your second time, your third time being Webster Hall.
Yeah, I think this is the third time.
Third time. Well.
Third time playing the main room. I played the basement a couple times.
That's amazing to hear. So first time was with the basement. Second time, I don't know exactly where. Hopefully on that main stage. But the third time is gonna be on that stage, even though it's just an opener. But you're gonna absolutely kill it anyway, because that's what Esseks does. That's what Esseks do with his music. And I'm so happy to finally witness your musicality live on stage. I know I will definitely be there on the sidelines, rooting for you, cheering you on, making sure everyone knows the power of Esseks. I mean, so many people out there already see the beauty in you, the power in you, and I just hope, more people need to understand that this demand here, you cannot ignore, you cannot miss, you have to witness one way or another. Just thank you, Esseks, for everything.
Hey, man, thank you.
truly appreciate you. Thank you so much, DEATHPACT, for bringing him in as a last minute thing. Kumarion, this is for you. He will represent everything for you. And thanks so much for watching too. The Slim Jr. Esseks Max signing out. Peace. Woo.